Hi guys, my name is Joy Kimodo and I would like you to watch and subscribe to my channel. I'll have very informative content. I've also written this inspirational piece, which is a semi-autobiography, which I feel will be very encouraging if you actually get a copy for yourself. So do watch, subscribe to our content. I'm sure you're going to get inspired and encouraged and informed.
Hi viewers, how are you? We are at it again. Welcome to our channel where we're going to give you informative and encouraging content. So today we have the one and only Maureen Kawera, and we shall be talking about the rising cases of strikes in schools. So Maureen Kawera, how are you?
I am okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Joy.
You might want to start with introducing yourself.
Yes.
Who is Maureen Kawera?
Maureen Kawera is a counseling psychologist.
Yes.
She's a teacher by training, an educationist,
Amazing.
a parent. Yeah, I am a mom. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So
Yes.
you are a parent, a teacher. I didn't know that bit about
Yes.
you. And you're a counseling psychologist.
Yes.
Great. And so the reason why we called you here today is because there's this rising cases of strikes in schools, and we can even pinpoint those schools and what is happening in those schools. But then for this show, we are not going to talk about those schools. We won't give out the names because we need to maybe just work on privacy and all that. So is there any need for conversation between the students and the school administration when it comes to leadership in the schools?
Yes, there is. There was a time, and I think maybe in our days or maybe your days when you were in school,
Yes.
teachers used to choose the student council. You'd come for a new year and you'd be told these are the school captains, the school prefects, and this is what is going to happen. Then most schools tried to bring in democracy, where the students vote for their school leaders.
Yes.
And that seemed to have dealt with the school unrest for a while. But now we're seeing that is also not working. You see?
So probably we need the students to be involved in leadership in the school, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great. What do you think is the reason why there's so many schools that are going on strike and all these cases to do with delinquency in the school setting, especially in our high schools?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Let us first look at the climate, the country, not even the country, the world post-COVID. Because when the pandemic came, the students were home for a long period of time.
Yes.
In Kenya, it was most of 2020.
Yes.
Our students were home.
Yes.
These students were home. Parents, most of them, there was a very big shift in lifestyle. Some had to move up country.
Yeah.
There was something I didn't mention. I work with Usikimye.
Oh, yes. Usikimye organization.
Yes. So there was also a rise in GBV cases.
Yes.
There was a lot of separation. There was a lot of teen pregnancies. And one thing we did not address is, as much as there was a lot of teen pregnancies, we didn't talk about the boys. Yes, we look at the girls. The girls are pregnant, the girls are dropping out of school. We didn't talk about the boys who did not go back to school. We didn't talk about how COVID affected these boys. Some of them who had not been introduced to drugs because they were home for a long period of time, ended up being introduced to drugs, ended up being introduced to crime, ended up seeing their families break, ended up being, there were a lot of child-headed families where both parents disappear, and maybe the boy,
the ones running the family.
Yes,
so
they look for jobs and they have to ensure they eat. Parents were unwell, and these kids are the ones who are taking care of their siblings. So the country climate already was heavy on these young people. You see, then they go back to school. They go back to school, and we're like, now you're back to school. It's back to back. We need to cover what you've missed. We need to cover the time. And these kids are tired. They are physically and mentally exhausted. They're emotionally exhausted. And then we say, because of COVID, we're not going to have games. We're not going to have festivals. We're not going to have this.
So they have a lot of energy
that has nowhere to go, number one.
Because it's COVID and they can't move out.
And the things that we talk about when it comes to self-care, sharing with your friends and with your family, some of them at home, they have no one to share with. because even those who are sharing with their parents are already exhausted and they are struggling. Some people who are working maybe for 8 hours and they're back home, they have to do overtime to earn more.
And some of them have been fired from their jobs. You forgot to say about that.
And you see, when they're fired and they're home and this child comes and they're like, Mom, I need a new textbook, and the parents' reaction is, the school is just asking for books. People are not seeing how things are hard in the country. So how this child is like, what now do I do? What do I tell you? I need this book for school. But even how we react to our children, even in that instance, makes them feel even home is unsafe, school is unsafe. You see.
So where should I go? What to do?
So we also have to look at the overall environment.
So do you think the students are depressed or they are stressed? That's the
Students
reason
are
why. Because we heard about a case recently with a certain boys' school where they went and told the head teacher that we want to be out of the school and please can we live peacefully, because if we don't, you can imagine what they could do. And so the principal didn't have any choice than to just let the boys go. So what do you think?
For us to sit and you see, one statement I've had from so many parents with the children that I counsel is and the young people that I counsel is, you go to school and the school is paid for. You have a home, you have 3 meals in a day. What is stressing you? And you see, that is one of the worst things that makes children see you're not understanding us. And even when one of the first things a client who is a student tells me, my mom does not understand me, my dad does not understand me, or these teachers are not understanding me. Because we forget our times when we were young and their times when they are young. These are different generations, different dynamics, different exposure. You have to come and understand what this child is going through, and also realize they are not a group. We might be from, even children raised in the same house by the same parents, have different experiences. You see, you'll hear that that child will be saying, my mom never loved me the way they love my siblings, my mom favored this other sibling, you know, I didn't like home. And this parent is looking and saying, but I raised all of you in this same house. Everyone's experience is different. As much as this is happening as a collective, and the cases are looking like put together, every situation is different. Let's deal with it as individual situation. Yes, there is the, we call it like a mob mentality, but what is happening in this specific child's life? Let's first look at it like that, in their home, in their life, or even in their school experience, because it's that one child who is going through a lot, who is not afraid of maybe burning the school or running away, who will convince another one who is also going through something else. And then when you look at it, you say, and
all of them have different reasons as to why they behave the way they do. So really we should stop blaming the children, and we might also want to think about how depressed they are and what is causing the depression. And I love the fact that you just talked about Usikimye organization, which is everyone knows about Usikimye. So that's very good, because you do talk about it, and I'm looking at hosting you next so that we talk about gender-based violence, because that could actually be contributing to this at home. You know, if this child sees how the father batters the mother, and how there's all that unrest in the home, you know, domestic violence, could that also be contributing to the way they behave at school?
Yes.
You know,
there's the issue of domestic violence at home. I've been telling people, and I've with the conversation around the unrest, and I keep on telling people, as Kenyans we're very violent, and we don't realize it right from home, and we are more violent towards the boy child. Yes, Kenyans, we have cases of sexual violence towards the girl child, but a study was done, and boys go through physical assault, even with mothers, even with fathers. The boy ndo anachapwa sana. If you find high school, most of high schools, the boys are beaten. The girls are given punishment. You mop, you kneel, you do. The boys are physically, corporal punishment is administered, and then the other punishments too. Even when the parent comes. You see, I've had cases of parents come to school and say, huyu, nipatieni room na kiboko. Then we raise our men in violence, and then they become violent, and then we're in shock. Oh, men are violent, but that's the environment we've created.
I would just want us to talk about the role
Next
of parents. No, just
right now. Oh, I thought you
because
were the
honestly,
yes.
you know, you just reminded me of a certain friend of mine, and apparently the husband was abusing the son. You get it? The son, the firstborn son. How did we get to know about this? Because the son just became unruly at school. We are trying to get him this school, then he's sent home, he's expelled 1, 2, 3 schools, and then the mother just decided, let me just find out what's happening with my son. And that's when the son opened up to her and told her, my dad has been doing this to me since I was in class 6. And what did you do about it? The mother didn't have a say. To cut the whole story short,
So physical or sexual abuse?
Sexual abuse, yeah. So, you know, like you're talking about the boy child. We've done so much to the girl child, for the girl child, and forgotten the boy child. And so that was really, really sad, because you can imagine up to now, that boy is damaged for life. He just sees the father like a monster. And apparently, she didn't leave. She didn't report, because she feared what would happen to her if she reported. That is so sad, and I love that you work with such parents. I might just want to refer her, but then again, sometimes you don't know what to do, because she's not able, she doesn't want to open up what's going to happen. But the boy keeps blaming the mom for that, you know, because you can imagine now he's not able to even have relationships with girls, because there is what has happened to him, you know, which is very sad. But in any case, let's think about the boy child. I remember when viewers, I know we had talked about this book which I've written, I Am Not Dead. When I was launching this book, I called or I invited boys to come. There's a certain organization that supports some boys, so I decided to just invite boys, because I thought we've done so much for the girl child that the boys are feeling threatened, and they're feeling they don't really matter. So I thought, why don't we? And by the way, very few people are actually encouraging the boy child. What's happening? We are all about girls.
I don't think that is the dynamic. And I always tell people, it's not girls versus boys. It's not men versus women.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
Because if I say I work with GBV and I work with girls and women, people tell me, what about the boys? But it's not this versus this. It's just that we need to realize we need to move as a collective.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not this versus the other. It's just that we need to move as a collective.
It's the child.
It's the child.
The child.
The
student.
Yes. Let's not say we've concentrated on the girl child, because even with what you're doing with the girl child, it's still not enough.
Still. Yes.
Because how many girls got pregnant during COVID and have not gone back to school?
Ooh.
How many were married off and we've not rescued them? So it's not this versus this. It is also realizing that as we do this, let us also work on the boys.
Exactly.
Yes.
True. We had talked about the role of parents, and just as you go to that, I was thinking, you know, there's this parent I remember working with at some point, and they brought their child for me maybe to work with them or tutor them, and she was quite disturbed, you know. You couldn't tell why, and I tried calling the mom. Oh, can I meet you? Can we schedule a meeting? She's like, no, I'm very busy, Joy. You know, I don't know, my husband passed away, so I have to ensure that I'm going for the court cases and all. And I'm like, no, even your daughter's life is important. So she didn't really have time for that. And you can imagine at some point we actually had to stop working, because I realized what she told me is that, no, I bought her, she has a car, she has a driver. What else does she want? So really, I think that's the reason why even some students do not perform well. It's not just about their academic performance, but also what is happening at home. They probably maybe need the love of their parents and the guidance of their parents. So as a professional, I would like you to just talk about the role of parents in the education sector.
Yes.
Really.
There's a meme that has been going around where a parent is asking, why are you failing maths and I bought you an atlas? Because that's how we look at parenting. Most of parents believe, I pay school fees, you have your uniform, you have medication, you have everything you need.
Yes.
What else do you want from me?
Yeah.
And there's a time someone asked me, what would you want if you could change something in the world? What would you change?
Yes.
I'd make parenting a class in school like math is a class in school.
Whoa.
Because whether you're Arabic, whether you're Indian, whether you know how to calculate, even that shosho who cannot read and write knows how to count their money. That's how I'd make parenting. Because we are affected with how we grow. There's a part of your mind that's called the labia. How you grow, it starts, every experience you go through is stored in your subconscious. Every experience. Even if you were dropped as a baby, that impact has not left you. You see? So if that is how parenting and our parenting experience affects our children, why are we not taking it more seriously? Because we think about the health, right? We think about talk about the child has gone to school, they've done this, they have exercised, they're physically fit, breastfeed your child for 6 months, do this. Why are you not talking about the emotional and the mental side of this child?
True.
Yes.
True.
Your child you might give them everything, but one thing you can't replace is that connection.
The love.
We need to bring back. The love is there. The love is there. Yes. Because the minute you tell your mother, why don't you love me? They tell you, but I pay your school fees.
Okay. Yeah. So
but you have 3 meals.
Yes.
That is how we know how to love as African parents. You see?
Yeah.
But that connection is not there. And one thing parents believe is, I cannot be an authority figure and be a friend to my child, which I feel is the biggest lie we've been sold to as parents, because it's possible. It's possible for you to be your child's friend and for you to be an authority figure. You just have to draw the boundaries. Wow. You know?
Wow.
Because why would you, if you and your spouse can live in that house as friends, why don't you want this with your child?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to be your child's friend?
No,
we
are Africans. We need assistance on this, because how
why don't you
want
to be? Yeah. Like, why don't you want to sit with your child and laugh and talk about your day and share your experience and tell them, when I was young I did this, and I'm telling you I suffered, and you share as a friend. Just because you're a child's friend does not mean, you know what we equate to being your child's friend? You're over permissive. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
True.
Even with you, if I'm your friend, I can't come to your house at 10 and tell you, I've come, I've missed you, I'll even spend the night here. No.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you love me as your friend, there are boundaries.
Yeah.
Same to parenting. Just because you're friends with your child does not mean there'll be that lack of respect. But the love and the connection will be stronger. And it will be easier. Even you as my friend, if I wanted to share something difficult with you, or maybe let's say, God forbid, your parent passes, they'll tell me, Maureen, go talk to Joy. We know you know how to talk to her.
Yes.
You see, why is it not the same with the parent and the child? But I'll tell you, I am a teacher. I want you to talk to your son.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
It's vice versa. Teachers know your kids better than you do.
It's true. It's true. Actually, I love that you brought about the issue of teachers, because it's like parents have left the role of raising their children to teachers and caregivers. The house helps at home, teachers, and so you find a parent would go to school and complain, oh, what are you doing to my son, da, 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 da. But they really are not involved per se. I know over COVID, people actually got depressed because they didn't want to stay with their kids at home. They were like, when are these schools opening? Because they just want to send them to school. So the teachers are already feeling overwhelmed. And I'm also thinking, as a teacher myself, I'm also thinking, okay, I have this many students to work with, 30 in a class. So why should I bother so much about you? And even if I discipline you, your mom or your dad will come to me and say, you know, what are you doing to my son and all that. So let's talk about the role of teachers here. Do you think that the recent cases of strikes in school would have been maybe curbed or gotten rid of if at all the teachers were more involved? And what exactly is the role of the teacher?
We've given teachers such a big role and a huge weight. And one thing we don't acknowledge, that these teachers are also parents.
Yes.
You see, they're parenting in this same way that we are also parenting. You see, they also have this, like, when a school's opening, these kids know, we forget that
they are
you
parents.
See, yeah.
True.
And for them, teaching, you know, there's that of, we say teaching is a calling and all that, but still it's a job.
It's a noble profession.
Yes. What we see and what we glamorize is that of coming to class and teaching and going. This teacher has to mark. They have to prepare the class system and curriculum and all that. They have to do all these other things. You see, they have to be on duty. They have to be, and then go home and be parents. They have their own issues. They have loans they're dealing with. They have rent they need to pay. They have that sick parent. They have and you still want to add the role of parenting to them. And even those teachers who go an extra mile, and even the counselors who work in schools who go an extra mile, these kids come back to the same environment that we as parents have created. Because I've seen, even there's my mentor, her name is Dr. Chakua. I love her because she says working with kids would be so easy if parents agree to go for therapy.
Parents to go for therapy?
Yes.
Okay, now that's new. Viewers,
it's the same thing.
Please comment on that. Parents should go for therapy.
Yes. It's the same thing as you go to the gym and work out, and you work out, and then you go out, and everything you're not supposed to be taking into your body is what you're taking.
Yes.
It's the same thing as the doctor telling you, these are the medication you need. Don't take alcohol with this medication, and then as soon as you're done, you turn and go to the bar and start taking alcohol. Because if you go back to the same environment, the same triggers, the same trauma, the same abuse, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. You see? So one thing I always tell parents, and before we started, we were making the joke that parenting is not easy.
It's not easy.
Because intentional parenting is not easy. And it's harder now that parents are being kind of forced to change with the way the world is changing. And I always tell people that the most difficult people to change are Africans. It's like in our culture to resist change, you see. And our young people are really pushing us to change. And we are on this other side resisting. But things are changing. And if you want to maintain the connection with your child, realize number one, your child is an individual. This idea of telling children, you children are spoiled. Unajua watoto wa Kenya mmeharibika sana. No. Look at your child and address the issue. You see? And even when they're indisciplined, address the incident. Address this specific incident. I told you to do ABCD, you did not do it. Why? What is going on? Let them tell you. If you'll be able to see a difference between an excuse and a genuine reason. But as Kenyan parents, we don't. I told you to do ABCD, you did not, now I punish you.
I love that you're talking about this, Maureen, but what role does a teacher have to play? As much as they have all this work and whatever, what role do they have to play? Do you think that the strikes that have happened in the recent past, do you think they could have been avoided if the teachers were fully involved in these children's lives? Because I'm thinking of a child who probably doesn't have a functional family, doesn't have, maybe the parents are very busy, they're drunkards, apparently parents have become so busy for their children, and there's this teacher, this is what they can see with this child. What role does a teacher have to play? Or how can they ensure that everyone in their class is well provided for, and they can feel that maybe I can share whatever it is that I'm going through with my teacher. What can a teacher do? Because I feel that maybe some of the teachers will just, they would just go to the staff room and they're having their tea, and probably maybe some of them would even go and talk about a certain Kamau. Oh, did you see Kamau today? I don't know, why is he so unkempt and all that? No, I don't like that child because of, is that what the teachers should be doing? What role do the teachers have to play? Because I feel if they're parents, then they need to also, So,
I want to ask you a very simple question. What are teachers paid to do?
Teach.
Trained to do?
Teach.
Yes. Because one thing we need to realize, just what you said, one teacher, 30 students. A teacher can only do so much. You see? And even as a teacher, if I was a teacher, for example, and I had a student who was having a problem, I would decide, I'll call this parent and see what can be done. But I repeat, there's only so much a teacher can do. You see? If maybe we had more teachers it would be easier for them, having been a teacher before and having known the weight that teachers carry. I repeat, there's only so much a teacher can do. And some of them don't even have the grace or not even in the mental space to handle such a student.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And then there are those who even don't know how to. Because having been a teacher, I find some of my friends who are still teachers calling me and they're like, how do I even help this student? I don't even know how to intervene in this situation. You get one or two, God bless their hearts, teachers who go that extra mile. Sadly, having a guidance and counseling department or even a teacher or even a therapist in school is not compulsory. It all depends on how much the school can afford or how they can afford to pay a therapist, or they can bring one therapist once in a while. And most schools would rather bring motivational speakers than they would bring a counselor
or a therapist.
Yeah.
Wow, which is very important.
Yes, because we're focusing more on performance. You see? Yeah, that's how the country is right now. Is you passed, you got an A, you're becoming a doctor. You see? And then you end up with a very good doctor who is a functioning alcoholic.
Yes. Yes. Morals, none.
Yeah.
So we should actually think of a therapist or a counselor coming
more
than a motivational speaker in the school setting.
Yeah, because if this child is depressed, if this child is being abused, no matter how much you beat them, no matter how much you scare them and threaten them that they will amount to nothing, it won't make them read any harder.
And by the way, viewers, I'm also thinking of not just the poor children, because those ones you would want to turn poor, probably maybe they go to local schools and all that. I'm also thinking about those people to private schools and international schools, because there have been cases of some who've actually committed suicide, and they're probably going to this very, very well-known, international private schools. What exactly is happening? What exactly is happening? So just like you're saying, there is the role that parents have to play, and I think that is why you really want us to dwell, which is probably very important, because everything starts at home. But I feel also the teacher should be in a position to maybe pinpoint, this one I've tried to work with, and the reason why I am sending them to their admin or to their parents is because I have done my part. So there's that role that a teacher has to play, as much as you're saying we need to concentrate more on how we are raising our children.
I'm not saying teachers don't have a role. They do. Because also, we also know that school politics have contributed into this. Whether we like to address it or not, we know school politics have contributed in this. There are those who will incite students to go on a strike if they don't want that head teacher working in that school. We know. We know there's so many dynamics to this. You see, I always tell people, even these kids who are banning school, most of them sent an adult with an ID to go buy that petrol. True. We want to sit with the and say, these students, but who helped them?
It's a certain adult. Somewhere.
There's an adult somewhere involved in all this. That's why I'm telling you, this is a very moral societal issue. We can't stand aside and put the students on that side and say, you people did A, B, C, D. We also have to look into ourselves and say, what are we doing to contribute to this?
I love that you've talked about that, because I'm also thinking, there's that motorbike guy who's been sent to come with the paraffin and all that to burn the school. What safety measures are there in the schools, to ensure that if such a thing happens, we are able to monitor? Do we have CCTV cameras in the schools, and all that? And I know now if you bring such an issue, it's going to be an issue to do with money and finances and all that. But then again, what is most important really? It's our children, right? They're the future generation. So don't you think that schools can also invest in such safety measures, CCTV guards and stuff?
They can, but I always feel some things have loopholes if the people who are working are inside people, the people who are working with to encourage these kids to do these things are inside people. It can be a good measure for now, but in the long run, we have to think about even the kids who are still growing. That's why I was telling people, yes, it has happened. Schools have been banned, and kids have been injured and all that. And those who are responsible, one thing, no matter how much I speak for the children, I am not condoning what they've done.
Okay, great. That's clear enough.
And those who are responsible need to, because it's a juvenile court, and now even the reform, the reform, the way we work towards reforming kids in the juvenile system is a whole conversation on its own. Because if today I would take you to an approved school, even your worst enemy, you don't want them to go there.
Yeah.
Even adults who go to jail, most of them come out worse. So we also have to look at how are we even reforming these kids. Yes, they will be arrested. You see, there was a circular that was going around saying those who will be found guilty will never be admitted into public schools. So what does that mean for private schools? Does it mean private schools are for kids who are delinquent? Really?
Wow. That's serious. But this is very, very deep. I'm learning a lot from you. But now, just before we come to a close, I would like us to talk about social media and maybe how it has also influenced this whole story of strikes in schools. So let's talk about social media.
One thing there's a course we were taking on child online protection.
Okay.
And people were like, kids should not be given phones. Kids should not have phones. And you get a parent who's like, my child can't give me a phone. Forgetting, people in your household have phones. Your neighbors, because you're not with the child 24/7.
Yes.
You leave your child at home with no phone, and you go to work with a peace of mind. My child has no access to internet.
And you leave them 50
shillings to buy lunch.
Yes.
They use 30 shillings for lunch, 20 shillings they go to the cyber.
Oh gosh.
20 shillings they go buy airtime and use it and put in the DM's phone.
Yes.
And they access internet. I always tell parents, prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
Teach this child how to be safe online.
Give them the phone.
Even if they don't have a phone.
Yeah.
If they have access to a phone, do they know how to be safe?
No.
Do they know that an adult, a 40-year-old adult, can masquerade as a 15-year-old and groom them and use them for sexual exploitation?
Sad.
Do you know that child pornography is shot in cybers? You see the cybers, the back, that's what they use. And you see when pornography is live streamed, it's very hard to arrest these people. So let us not focus on one thing, that this phone, this one phone is the source of the problem. There's so many loopholes, and you're safer teaching your child how to be safe than you are trying to fence them in. And even when you are young, that one thing you've been told by your mother not to do is the one thing that you want to do.
Yes, true.
Even adults right now, they don't overlap.
They say the
Kenyans.
Yeah.
They overlap. That one thing that you do. Why don't you teach them how to be safe? And then you tell them, if you want to do ABCD, let's do it. And we should see the safe way to teach them how to. Because what happens
and why why they need to be safe, why they need not to be talking to such and such a person, why they need not to succumb to peer pressure. Because my friend has this and they share this and I need to have it. So you get it, yeah?
And even having that conversation with your child, that just because you don't have, doesn't mean you're not worthy of having. You see?
True.
Yeah. Because with those parents of, you're telling me to buy you a phone and you're getting a D in school.
Oh, wow.
So this child is like, just because I'm not bright academically means I don't deserve good things in life. These are those small things we pick at our children's self-esteem.
Now, role of
let's go back to social media.
I'm telling you. What? Okay,
because you know your parent is your first experience to the world.
It's true. I love it.
And 80% of how you view the world and how you view yourself. Yes. So social media has contributed, because kids right now are not like us. They don't learn from books. Even not many of them watch TV. They either watch movies or series or direct to social media and YouTube and all that. You see, so they see experiences. Kids having different experiences in different countries. Some see young children who are celebrities, like preteens and teenagers are mostly into K-pop and Korean pop, Korean pop, and these groups like the BTS.
Yes, BTS.
Yes. Every mother of a teenager knows BTS.
Yes.
Yes. So they see different lifestyles and different experiences. And like us, who will watch Kina Kim Kardashian and Kina Oprah and we admire that life, they also admire that life, you see. And it's very bad when we demonize that. Because it's a normal experience. To see something you like and want it.
We should teach them how to filter.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
This is important.
And tell them this has been packaged like this for it to be attractive to you. You see, the same way they'll package advertisements on TV. You see, advertisements for girls will be packaged with bright colors and very beautiful skin
so that
and
you buy
makeup, and to show you will have very many friends. You see, for men, girls will love you and ladies will want to hang out with you if you apply this roll-on. Everything is packaged for a certain market. Teach them this to see, yes, it looks good, but it has been packaged to be attractive. Kwa ground, which is different. Let them always learn that. Because when kids go to social media, it's face value. They see their friends on Instagram posing with very nice clothes and very nice bling. Yes, you see. But tell them, just because it looks good on face value, it may not be the truth.
And probably they don't even own those things, you know. They're just doing it for marketing or for show off and all that.
Influencers. Tell them half the things these influencers show on social media.
The role of parents. That's what you
have that conversation. That's what I'm telling you. Have that conversation with your child. But for some of us, even talking to our children about sex is a whole thing. If you can't talk to your children about sex, how will you talk to them about sexual abuse and what is happening, and this is what happens, and this is how you deal with it, and this is where you can report? If sitting down and having that conversation just about sex is a problem, it's a taboo subject in your house, no one talks about it, but our kids are having sex and you don't want to admit it.
True.
Every parent swears their child is a virgin.
And then maybe for now we can actually talk about every parent, every caregiver, because I'm sure there are some who don't have parents. So if you're a caregiver, you have a responsibility, just like that of a parent.
And know what your child knows. Ask them. And ask them from an unjudgmental view. Don't ask them and have that conversation and then turn and say, hey, so you know all these things, so you're practicing all these things.
How did you know?
But kids talk. Even the most innocent one.
True.
They talk. They talk amongst themselves. They talk with their peers. You see? They talk with the neighbors and the cousins and the older cousins. You see? You might also want to know who is coming into your house. What morals are they bringing into your house? What influence? You see, because when your child looks at you, to them you're like 50. You're like you're just old and you don't understand them.
You don't know this.
But this one is closer to my age. And you they admire the young cousins and the young aunties and the young uncles. And they admire the good and the bad. You see. So also know who is impacting in your child's life. And even if someone is influencing, teach your child how to discern. You see, and the power of choice. And tell them a specific choice has a specific consequence. If you choose this, as much as you saw someone else doing it, you will face the consequence yourself. You see?
Wow, I love it. Now guys, as we come to a close, I would like Maureen to actually just advise a parent who's probably too busy for their child. You know, they leave home very early and they come home when the child has slept. The child did their homework, maybe with the help of the house help or someone else. And so how would you advise this parent to actually create time for their child? Because I think that is the most important thing now.
For me, 2 takeaways. Number one, it's not the quantity of time you spend with your child, it's the quality.
If we didn't have Corona, we would have... But anyway, please say it again.
It is not the quantity of time you spend with your child. It's the quality.
Wow.
You see parents who say we must have dinners together.
Yes.
But everyone is at the dining table with a phone. You being in the house does not mean you're interacting with your child.
Wow.
Set intentional time to interact with your child. It doesn't have to be an expensive thing. You know, you don't have to take your child to malls and what. Take a walk with your child. It's free. Just carry bottles of water and go walk. Go to a arboretum with a ball if you live in a place without a field. Go to a arboretum with a ball. Play with your child. Talk, laugh together. 2 hours, 3 hours maximum. It's the quality,
not the quantity.
Not the quantity that you spend with your child. Number 2, who do you allow into your house? And what are your house rules? You see? But if your house is free for everyone to come, they'll somehow interact with your child and impact on them. You see? You have relatives coming in, you have friends coming in, you have people. And this idea of people coming to your house and sharing beds with your children.
You don't know what's happening.
That should not be condoned. You know, should not even be condoned.
So check who's coming to your place, interacting with your child, and also we talked about the quality, but not quantity
of time that you spend with your child.
And
if you feel that there's something your child is doing that is like really pissing you off and is a very trigger to you, investigate where that feeling is coming from.
True. Well, I'm also thinking of a parent who's maybe driving their kid to school. It's the quality. So even as you drive them to school, what are you telling them? Even as you pick them from school, you know, maybe that drive, that's the only time that you can spend with your child. So what exactly are you telling them? What are you instilling in your child, right?
And allow children to be children.
Allow them to be children.
Yeah, the child can come home, they've had a rough day, they are moody, and they're telling them, this house, you have to talk to me, and you have to do. Allow, even them, they have bad days.
Yes.
Even if they have difficult days, they have things they're going through, you know, and sometimes they're not ready to share.
Yes.
Give them time. Let them know with you, it's always an open door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maureen, we need another session about this because we cannot exhaust everything, honestly. So we can also tell them about reading. What exactly are you reading? Because I feel you become what you read, what you watch, you know, who you listen to, just like you're saying. So really, we need a session for this. We need another session for this because I'm sure even students do want to share what exactly they're going through. And it seems like everybody's busy nowadays, you know, kuna pesa, COVID and stuff, and then the child has just been neglected. So I think we need another session. And I love that you talked about the role of parents because that's the most important thing. So guys, I would like Maureen to give us her parting shot on this and probably maybe just how we can curb these strikes at schools. So Maureen, please, you can face the camera and just talk to our guys. I mean, I think you just talk to everyone. Parents, teachers,
and everyone. These children have not turned out like this in a vacuum. There's something we have contributed as a society. Even the children that you interact with every day, there's something we've contributed. Let's check ourselves as a nation and see how are we guiding these children. What examples are we showing these children? Because we're bringing up a very bitter generation. These are children we have rejected, we have insulted, we have physically and sexually assaulted. So we also need to look at ourselves as a country and as a society and see how are we contributing to this. Are we creating spaces, safe spaces for these children to say what exactly they are going through? And even when they do, how are we reacting to it? Like the story you've shared of that boy who shared what was happening.
Yes.
You see, if that boy is still in that unsafe environment, you've not changed.
What exactly can we do?
So let us look at ourselves as a society and see how are we interacting with these children. Number 2, there needs to be justice for the children who are injured, the children who are hurt, those who are involved. Both adults and students need to be taken action, you see. And that way we'll be able to now go through the juvenile system and see, and I'm glad our Chief Magistrate Mother Kome is doing a great job when it comes to the to reforming the juvenile system and how these kids who are interacting with the law, how they are affected and how it can be also safe for them. Yes. So thank you, Jai.
Wow. Great, guys, that was deep. You know, Maureen, I'm like, we cannot finish this. So I think we need another session. So thank you very much, viewers. You can comment down here and tell us what you feel about today's show and what you feel maybe should be done in terms of helping our children in our school system. So yeah, great, Maureen. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to next time.
Yes. Thank you, guys.